Good morning, students. Today we are going to discuss 4.2 part from your textbook, which is novel To Serve with Love, which is written by E.R. Bretweth. Actually, this part it is there for your self study, but then also I have decided you should know the summary, plot, structure, theme, and the character of this novel. That's why today we are going to see the summary of this novel. I hope you must have read this novel. To Serve with Love. Actually, this novel, student, it is written by British American novelist. He was a writer, teacher, and diplomat. He was best known for his stories of social condition and racial discrimination against black people. Bretweth's writings primarily deal with the difficulties of being an educated black man, a black social worker, a black teacher, and simply a human being who found himself in a set of inhuman circumstances. Student, this novel, it is an autobiographical novel. The narrator, though an engineer, he accepts job of a teacher in Greenslade School in London's East End and is said to teach the senior classes of the school. In this novel, we can see the school is full of unruly students who were rejected from other schools for their behavior. These students, they are naughty, mischievous, misbehavior. At the beginning of the narrator is ridiculed by the student, but later his patience and desire to see them succeed gradually earn him their respect. The given extract covers the day of her yearly report of the student council and the behavior of the narrator students at the program. To Serve with Love is a 1959 autobiographical novel by Bretweth, who born in 1912, who was known as E.R. Bretweth. He set in the East End of London. Student, this novel is based on true events concerned with Bretweth taking up teaching post in a Greenslade school there. The novel is composed in 22 chapters with every possible detail, which give a remarkable insight into the politics of race and a class in post-war London. So, the novelist means Bretweth, he is an engineer from British Guiana who has worked in an oil refinery. Coming to Britain just before outbreak of World War II, he joins the RAF, Royal Air Force, and is assigned to air crew. In 1945, he is unable to find work despite his qualification and experience due to racism. After discussing his situation with a stranger, he applies for a teaching position and is assigned to Greenslade School, a secondary school in London East End. Now, if we talk about the circumstance of the novel, so most of the students in his class are unmotivated to learn and are only semi-literate and semi-articulate. He persists despite their unresponsiveness to his approach. Students attempt to discourage and demoralize him by disruptive noises because they don't want to learn, they don't want to get knowledge, because they don't have value of education. And that's why whenever the teacher enter in their class, always this student, they want to discourage, they want to demoralize that person. Constant use of the adjective bleeding in the classroom, and finally the burning of used sanitary towel in the fireplace. This last causes writer to lose his temper. Braithwaite decided to try a new approach. Now here the writer, he tried new approach towards his student, and he set some ground rules. The students will be leaving school soon and will enter adult society. So he will treat them as adult and allow them to decide what topics they wish to study. So here the writer, he decided to use different approach. So he decided that let students decide what they want to learn today, and in return he demands their respect as their teacher. This novel actually approach is initially rejected, but within a few weeks the class is largely won over. He suggests out of school activities including visit to museums which the students have never experienced before. A young teacher, Blanchard, volunteers to assist him on these trips. Some of the girls start to speculate whether a personal relationship is budding between Braithwaite and Gillian. The trip is success, and more are approved by initially spectacle headmaster. The teacher and the student council opening discuss all matters affecting the school including curriculum. The general feelings is that Braithwaite's approach is working, although some teachers advocate a tougher approach. The mother of one of the girls speaks privately to Braithwaite about the girl's troubling attraction to nightlife, feeling that he has more influence with her impressionable daughter. In the last we can see Braithwaite and the Gillian, they fall deeply in love and discuss marriage. Her parents are openly disapproving of mixed race marriage, but realize that the couple are serious and intelligent and must be trusted to make the right decision. So this was the summary, student. Now here we can see some main characters of the novel. The first main character of the story is Denham. Denham is a business-like and confident while allocating tasks and fitting in the program. He is an important official for the function and sits confidently beside Head. He courteously addresses the girl as Miss while discussing PT and games. He shocks the audience with his views. He is a trained boxer and does not want to do PT exercises which he feels are unnecessary for him. His tone is initially critical, argumentative, blunt. However, student, when Miss Phillips gently replies to his argument and outwits him, he graciously and politely accepts his defeat. Next main character is Miss Joseph. Miss Joseph is a business-like and confident while allocating tasks and fitting in the program. She is an important official for the function. She sits on the stage beside Mr. Florian with composure. She also addresses the audience with confidence. Next is narrator, means Ricky Braithwaite. He is the narrator. He is a sensitive person. He is very upset at the racism that he has to face after serving in the army. He gets a job in the school and initially has a very difficult time with the students who are disrespectful, ill-mannered and mischievous. They harass him from day one. However, his novel and creative ideas, innovative technique, and understanding of the student psychology ultimately wins students' hearts. Though writer was harassed, mentally and physically tortured many times, he didn't lose his patience and continued implementing his novel ideas and techniques that help him to bring a significant change in his students' lives. On the day of half yearly report of the student council, he is very anxious to see how they behave. When they are business-like, confident, cool and courteous, he feels proud of them. Next character is Miss Dare. Miss Dare spoke about the problems which all humanity has to face in terms of sickness and disease and of advantage gained by interchange of knowledge, advice and assistance. Her contribution was something of an anticlimax after Furman's performance, and she seemed to realize it but continued with her speech. And the last one main character is Miss Philip, whom everyone had thought to be freely and brainless, proves while answering Denham's question that she is the best informed of the three teachers on the stage. She intervenes skillfully when the other two teachers are at loss without embarrassing them. She speaks coolly, honestly, and with authority. She is very slightly built, but she controls her class very well. She tells Denham that the whole timetable in the school was meant to help the student in the world after they left school, and doing what was told in spite of not liking it. It is part of training. She confidently asserted that she was sure that Denham saw the importance of what she had said and why he had to do PT. Thus, she put Denham in his very coolly. Students, if we talk about the theme of the novel, so in the novel To Serve with Love, which is by E.R. Bretweth, there are several themes which are interwoven within the story. One of the main themes is prejudice in this post-war England setting. Bretweth is a college graduate and an ex-military man. His desire is to work as an engineer, but there isn't anyone that will hire him to supervise a job, and the only reason is he is black. The idea of prejudice is not new to any black man alive, but what strengthens this theme is that Bretweth also is guilty of reverse prejudice towards some of his students. Another important theme in this novel is the theme of human relations and the always complicated teacher-student relations. As a teacher, he can identify with the daily struggle of trying to meet the student's need, but at the same time not crossing the line between the student and teacher relations. The setting is London in 1947 and the country is still recovering from the war. Bretweth's 8-month autobiographical novel is very relevant and still makes the reader look within to examine where he or she stands on these themes. Student, in this extract, the narrator, Bretweth, tells us about the half-yearly report of the student council, during which the students report to the faculty and the other students on what they have been studying thus far. It is an important and formal occasion, and the narrator is very curious about the behavior of his class because throughout year he taught them. So now he is worried that how the students they are going to behave at this time because this is the formal occasion. Miss Joseph and Denham, both students of Bretwith class, are important officials for the functions. They sit on the stage confidently beside the headmaster, Mr. Florian, and preside over the meeting. They are businesslike, courteous, and efficient while allocating tasks and fitting in the program. After Mr. Florian addresses the meeting, each class, through their chosen representative, gives a brief report on their programs in each subject. Bretwith class representatives speak knowledgeably about their coursework. After this presentation, a panel of the teacher is chosen at random to answer any question which is put by the student. For this session, the teachers chosen are Mr. Weston, Mrs. Del Evans, and Miss Phillips. Denham creates a stir by speaking on the subject of PT and games, complaining that the class was ill-conceived and pointless. Mr. Weston tries to bluster his way out of the subject and offer no sensible argument. Unacceptably, the quiet and the hesitant Miss Phillips steps in and gives a strong defense of the practice, outwitting Denham in a cool and pleasant manner. Denham accepts his defeat gracefully. Bretwith is immensely satisfied. Why? Because his students proved themselves. He is satisfied with the progress of the student of his class. So student, this was the theme, character, summary of the story. One more time I want to sum up novel in short. So after searching unsuccessfully for work as an engineer, writer accepts a teaching position at Rough East End London High School. His colleagues warn him about the impossible brutes he will encounter there, but still he enters his classroom. He was unprepared for their horrible deficiencies, a classical portrayal of teen where these impoverished, battered kids who have turned out badly are determined to brutalize everyone around them. The teachers let them dance between classes to win some of their aggressive energy, but they all treat the classroom as though it were an unsupervised sandbox. Writer teaches them self-respect. As sentimental as the plot may be, the kids' transition is touching. Pointier is as cool and classy as ever. Returning to the classroom, writer outlines a new approach to teaching his students and set a strict ground rules. The student will be leaving school and entering the adult world soon. His new strategy is to treat them as an adult and allow them to discuss issues of their own choosing. He emphasizes this by throwing out their textbooks. As part of being adults, he insists the student will use proper forms of address and take pride in their appearance and deportment. While Denham continues to bait writer, the rest of the class is won over. Although writer's humble background is quite like their own, he has made a success of himself by cultivating his language and dress. He insists they can do the same if they wish. There is a darker turn too when the gym teacher, Mr. Bell, insists that Carl Facts participate in vaulting despite his classmates' objections. The vault collapses and breaks under Buckley's weights, although the Buckley is not seriously hurt. The boys are angry at the coach for forcing him to attempt the jump. Picking up Walt's broken leg, Potter threatens Bell with it. Ryder is called to defuse the situation. So this type of so many situation we can see in the novel. At the last we could see that alone in his classroom, we see that Ryder's student have gifted him a mug. He lets a accompanying card fall to his desk as he sinks deep in thought. Breaking Ryder's solitude in the dark silence of his classroom, a young boy and a girl burst in, now aware of the teacher's presence. Upon seeing him, they begin mocking his gift and joking that they will be in his class next year. When they leave, Ryder rises, ponders his situation, then he retrieves the job's offer from his inside pocket, and a moment of clarity rips it to pieces. So student, here we can see that the narrator, he initially had a very difficult time with the student who were disrespectful, ill-mannered and mischievous. They considered him to be an arrogant outsider, unfamiliar with the social environment in which they have grown up. They harass him from the day one. However, they come around after only few weeks, completely changing both their hygiene and their attitude towards one another. This marked the success of the narrator in handling the student in a very amicable way. This is proved on the day of the half-yearly report of the student council. The narrator students allocate tasks in a business-like way. They present their report confidently and clearly. They are cool and efficient in their work. They are courteous towards each other and teachers, and they accept the verdict of the teachers. This shown the significant and crucial change brought about by the narrator in his student. So this was the summary of the novel. I hope you must have understood the story in short. Now when you will read it line by line, so you will get each and every incident. Try to find out new words, their meanings, sketch down characters, and try to solve the brainstorming which is given in your textbook. So today we are going to stop here. Thank you and have a nice day.